All right, guys, welcome to our Friday noon Zoom. This is a mastermind of home business entrepreneurs where we come together and we get awesome training from Dr. Doug Firebaugh and Alan Newell and Paul Capozio and myself and the other leaders that come in here and just share gold. You know, if you're looking for a place where you can get coaching and training that honestly other places you'd pay likely thousands of dollars for, and to be trained and coached by somebody like Dr. Doug Firebaugh, who's worked with 52 millionaires now that he's coached to go to the top level in their companies. That's the kind of value you're getting here in this mastermind. So I really encourage you. This is for people from all different companies. You may be in affiliate marketing, network marketing, home business, whatever that is for you. This is just a great place to get practical training, but also the mindset behind it. And that's really the magic, when you can understand why you're doing something, understand conversations, understand people, understand this whole business that we're doing. It just helps you so much. So I really recommend you take out a pen and paper, start taking some notes. If you have questions later on, we'll get to those. We go around and we have other people share. If you have a great contribution you want to add to it, just raise your hand at any time. We'd love to hear from anybody in here. And we just have awesome leaders here that have joined us. So we're really excited. I'm going to go into share screen. And we have a really great training today. It's going to be on creating the value proposition. Let me go into slideshow. And this comes from, if any of you were with us last week, Paul Capozio, in one of his shares when we were just doing commentary, had brought up this report, resonate, differentiate, and substantiate. And he went a little bit into it, but today when it was going to be us coming on to train, because Dr. Doug's so gracious to allow Paul and I to come on every other week and share training, I asked him if we could go a little bit deeper into this. So I think that this is going to be so helpful. Paul, I'll let you start off with just where you came up with this, what the report, resonate, differentiate, and substantiate, those, the BFF, the wow, the first to market results. If you can give everybody kind of a quick overview of what those four things are, and then we're going to go deeper, guys, into what if you don't have one, what comes out of it, and with each one, how that looks different. So go ahead, Paul.
Well, I think we should start off with a glossary first, right? We talk about value, a value proposition, and I think it's important to understand what value is, right? So value is the worth of something, whether it's monetary worth or the emotional worth to you. I mean, and how much somebody will pay for something or desire something. And in our case, it's the value of what would someone want to be a distributor for, right? What is that reason? What's the value for them to become a distributor or a customer of ours? Then we go into the value proposition. We're going to propose to them, what we think the fit is for them, especially if we built rapport and we know about them. We know about what their desires are, what their why is, what their dreams are, what their financial condition is. So it's the collection of reason of why a buyer buys. That's the value proposition. Or it's the reason an entrepreneur is going to get involved. Charlene does a great training on how to build on LinkedIn. Well, I love LinkedIn because it's a way that people we know that they're entrepreneurs. We know they have a business mindset. So it's a little bit of a first step and an easy hurdle to overcome because we know the mindset they're in. So then, what do we do? It's how do they get involved and what they feel the value is to them. Right. And then we have to have a positioning statement, a value proposition positioning statement that says, well, what's that compelling reason, the tangible thing that they have in their hands to say, this is where I want to be. And that leads me to your slide, Angel, which is creating the value proposition. You must hit these 4 points. And if you don't touch on these 4 points and you're going to get off the call and say, boy, that didn't go so well, or what happened? What was the problem there? And if we don't hit these points, people are not going to see the end result. So we need to build and develop rapport. And this is the first thing. And I put BFF because I thought BFF meant be friends first. But my daughter said, no, Daddy, it's best friends forever. But I like my definition for our industry so much better that we need to learn how to say hello to people. We need to start to build conversations with people and build rapport, learn about them. Learn about what their financial condition is, what their desire and passion is, the drive that they have. We need to identify these things and see if what we offer makes sense for them. Instead of just trying to say how great this person would be to be in my business, I think we should start thinking about how great this business can be for them. right? Because we always think about our paycheck or our volume. And I think that's a big mistake. The next thing is it has to resonate with people. There's got to be a wow factor, either in your product or your leadership, or hopefully all of the above, in your compensation plan. What's the wow factor that's going to get them? The third point we need to hit, and we must hit, is differentiate. What sets you, your company, your product, you as a leader, apart from someone else, right? So are you a first to market product? Are you the better version of a product that exists on the market? Because you're not first, but you're the best. Whatever that may be, you must identify that, and it must be clear. The last thing is you must substantiate it. And one of the best ways to substantiate it is the results. We see the before and after weight loss, right? We see the skincare. That's a good way to substantiate your products. And if you don't hit on all of these points and you're missing one, you're going to wonder why. You got to know. So the first thing is, if we have a wow factor. We have the fastest weight loss pill. You take this pill, within 30 seconds, you're going to lose 30 pounds. Right? That's wow factor, right? If we differentiate and no one else on the market has this product, it's exclusive to us, and we have a 1,000-year patent on it, right? So now we differentiate it. And by the way, here's a picture of me and my wife. We were 1,800 pounds between the two of us, and now we're 172 pounds each, right? Or maybe she's 110 and he's like 155. But we didn't build rapport. We didn't have a friendship, a conversation. There was no interaction. We were talking at them instead of talking with them. They're going to say, I don't know you. I don't trust you. Who are you? Right? And that is going to be the biggest challenge for most of us, because we don't invest the time to get to know the people that we want to be in business with. If somebody tells me, Paul, if you joined me, we're going to make millions together. But here's my link. And this is all via text, by the way, not a phone call, not a cup of coffee, not meeting me in an airport. This is all via text. I'm going to do a lifestyle change for myself or my family because you took the time to send me a cut and paste text. Angel, I'll pass it back to you, because I think we stay on the importance of rapport.
Absolutely. And I think we all either have done this before and been wrong about it, or we have people coming to us not building that rapport. Recently, just this week, actually, I had somebody send me a link, and she just said, can you do me a favor and complete this survey? And so I opened it up. I knew what I was getting into, and it was all about passive income. And I left her a message back, and I said, you may hate me for saying this, but let me give you a little bit of coaching. I don't know you. Yes, we've been friends for who knows how many years. I don't know when we became friends, but we haven't even had a conversation. I said, I knew where this survey was going because I understand this industry. However, if I didn't know you and I wasn't a network marketer, there's no way I would give you my email address and say, yes, I want to complete this survey without having any idea who you were or why you're asking me to do this. So I said, if you can listen to a bit of advice, build that friendship first, right? And that is exactly what this is. So Dr. Doug, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the report, that first step that is just so crucial.
There's two different types of rapport. One that works and one that doesn't. The one that doesn't is where you try to get people to rapport with you. The one that does is where you try to get to rapport with the prospect. All rapport is you like each other. You have something in common. You feel there's a little chemistry there. It's kind of feels comfortable, and you really rapport. If you have rapport with somebody, it means you want to learn more about them. And if you have rapport with somebody, it means that there's potential here for something. It could either be business, be great friends, or something. But the greatest way to develop rapport with people is to keep you out of the mix. Don't focus on you, but talk about them. My favorite thing to ask people when I was recruiting, tell me about you. A very simple question. Tell me about you. Brag on yourself. And the more that they told me about themselves and I complimented, like, wow, that's amazing, the more rapport that was built. And occasionally I would say, I can relate to that. Rapport building statements, or I can relate to that. You and I have that in common. Wow, you and I seem to be a lot alike. Those are rapport building statements that you can use, very simple stuff. But yet at the same time, rapport is built from you to them, not them to you. Back to you, Angel.
That is awesome. Alan, your thoughts on rapport?
And some people think, thank you. And what Doug said was awesome, and Paul and you as well. And some people think that, have you ever been in one of those conversations where, like you said, Angel, you got a message, you got a survey, and you knew where it was going, right? And so sometimes it's just, there it is in your face, and I don't know you. But then what's I think just as bad is when somebody reaches out to you and you know their intention, you know what they're going to do, but they'll drag it out and ask all these questions and blah, blah, blah. And you're just waiting for the hammer to drop. You're waiting for that because you realize they're not really interested in you. They're interested in trying to talk to you well enough to say, oh, they're looking for that pitch point, that time to jump in. And I'll tell you, and so see, it doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take a lot of that. And so I'll tell you an interesting story is I was on a plane with a lady, two ladies actually. One was from Texas and one was from New Jersey. And I was sitting in the middle. And so we were talking back and forth. And I learned all about the lady. The girl from Texas was a college coach. She coached softball at a college in Texas. And the lady to my left was in training. And she did a training for her company, and she would ride around the country, go around the country and do these seminars. And so we talked and talked and talked, and we talked 98% about them and what they did. And I just let them talk. And they asked me what I did, and it happened. And so, and I pulled out something out of my bag, and then I was like, what is that? And I showed it to them, blah, blah, blah. Well, both of those ladies said, let me get your number and your information. And they sent me a thing, said, I need to learn more about that. And I want to order some of it. And so it wasn't, see, the conversation was me actively listening to them, getting to know them and telling them and caring about, and it wasn't about, I had no intentions of getting 2 new customers on an airplane. I was just having a conversation. But when they said, what do you do? It gave me an opportunity. I've heard Doug say this so many times. People say, what do you do? Well, he's got a short little, hey, I help people start new businesses in the health and wellness industry. I help people start new businesses in the enter your industry, whatever your industry is. And that's what I do. And see, that's that curiosity post that you're not there for the wrong reason. You're not there with, and you mentioned it earlier, Paul, when you said, you're not there with the intent to recruit them. You're there with the intent to build that rapport, as Doug was saying. Back to you, Angel.
That was fantastic. And I love
Alan,
that.
I think it's, you marry the process and divorce the outcome. And I think so many people are just so worried about the outcome, they never really do the process correctly.
Amen.
When you said about the active listening, you're such a pro at it, right? And so some people on here may still be even working on that part of it because we get so excited to want to share. And we get so excited that we're having these conversations and, want to move it forward into the way that we want to go. But the active listening, and when you think of sales, and, I've done B2B sales, right? Where you interview a company, you find out what their needs are, you present based on what those needs are, right? That's exactly when it comes to that point, when you actively listen. And sometimes people want to talk all about themselves and they never even ask you about yourself. I was just on a Zoom the other day where that happened. I was just laughing because I was like at the end of it and I had to get off for another Zoom. I'm like, man, I didn't say a word. And that's fine because, we'll continue that conversation later. But when it gets to that point, Alan, even without, you know what their needs are, right? You know if what you have is a fit by that point. And if it isn't, then you just share what you do and you move on, and that's fine, right? But knowing what their points were. I think, guys, what Dr. Doug said, tell me about you, write that in big letters at the top of your page and remember that for every single conversation that you have. And I do that in my voice messages. If somebody connects with me as friends on Facebook or follows me on Instagram, that's my first message. Hey, Donna, thank you so much for connecting with me. I love that we're friends now, or I love that we're following each other now. Tell me more about you. I like to get to know people that I'm connected with more, right? That's it. And I love that. So definitely, guys, that is something strong. And as we're going through this, as we go through these 4 points, really, I encourage you to start, first of all, with this one, start evaluating your conversations. Go back through some of your texts, go back through some of your messages. See, am I taking the time to get to know people? Or am I just, boom, going in hard? and evaluate yourself. Only you can challenge yourself and better yourself. But also, as we go through the next 3, start to think about your company and your business and your products and the conversations that you're having with people and how you might need to tweak these now to fit these other 3 key points. But do that today. Listen to this now, but I really encourage you, take another hour later today and really start to write down what these points are about what you're doing now. So we're going to go into resonate now and weak resonance. Paul, I'll let you start it off.
Okay, I need you to do me a favor though. If you could pull it down for a second and change what's your best price? I need you to change it to I don't need this. Actually, we're shifted. I know that we changed it because we added. So I need that actually what's your best price should say I don't need this, and then best price is the next one. Okay.
I don't know. How do I do that?
All right. So open up the thing and go back to edit. So hit escape and then open it back up.
Okay, there we go. So you want me to
should be able to edit. So there should say, I don't need this. How many of you have heard while she's doing that? How many of you have ever heard that? I don't need this. So what is resonating, right? Something has to resonate with someone. It has to ring true to them. There has to be a wow factor, right? So when maybe it's our product, maybe it's our comp plan or whatever it may be, you need to figure out. Now, Angel does a great training, and I know it came from a lot of Doug's trainings about the 5 points you need to evaluate a company. These are the things to think about, because without these 5 values of how to choose the company you're with, you're never going to be able to really create a proper value proposition if your company or your leadership does not hit on all of these points. Now, I'm not telling you to leave where you are. I'm telling you to examine where you are and find your wow factor in your company, okay? Now, it can be leadership, but it really should be something that the company offers that has that wow factor, because that's kind of what people look at first, especially when they're thinking to come on as a customer or a glorified customer who's a distributor and is looking for a better price. So when there's weak resonance, they're going to say, I don't need this. This is not something that's important to me. This is not something I could see myself buying from you. So it must resonate. And in most cases, when we're dealing with customers, and we know we need a significant amount of customers, we must have resonance. There must be a wow factor. So let's say your company has 15 different products, and everyone's talking about this one product, and everybody loves this product, but it doesn't have the wow factor. You need to be able to ask. One of the things I do when I deal with people who I believe are customer-centric is I will say to them, so if you had to pick between losing your car keys every 20 minutes, or, shoulder or back pain, or just the sheer fact that you're aging. Now, I'm basically doing this based on what the company that I'm with, but you figure out the script for yours. Which one of those 3 interest you or are a challenge for you? Then you're going to focus in on that product, because if you're solving a problem, the product solution, or even if it's income, even if you're selling the comp plan because it's someone who's looking to make extra money, that's where it's going to resonate, and that's where you're going to have the wow factor, right? So I think that's enough to get you guys started. Did I pull the cord on the outboard motor for you guys? Get you started?
Absolutely. And sorry, I didn't realize that I actually had that point wrong. So now I understand why you were correcting me on that. Absolutely. And I think that who says it? Kenny in our company, he says, don't try to sell cat litter to somebody who doesn't have a cat, right? It's like, you first of all need to recognize that somebody needs this. You need to make sure that your product resonates with them. And Dr. Doug always does a great training where, hey, if it doesn't, who do they know that it does? Paul, yeah, you don't need this. I understand that this probably isn't the best product for you, but who do you know that does need this? And if you can keep me in mind and connect me with them, I'd love to talk with them and help them. Dr. Doug, what are your thoughts on the weak resonance part?
Somebody put in the chat that when I say, tell me about yourself, they usually get a pitch. For network marketers, probably so. What you do is very simple. When they start pitching, you say, excuse me, I'd like to learn about you, not your business. Be blunt. No, that's the only way you're going to shut them up. I want to know about who you are, not necessarily your business. Maybe we can talk about that later. The odds of you getting all network marketers are slim and none, because to be perfectly blunt, the majority of folks, if you're talking to network marketers and you're talking to the wrong people, because less than 2% ever are recruitable. So I would suggest that you move into more of a linear place where you're not talking to network marketers. Now, what was your question, Angel? I apologize. I was thinking about that.
No, I think that's perfect. Sorry, I think my internet is off today, but weak resonance. So when you aren't able to identify that they resonate with your product or the service that you have to offer.
Well, the simple question to find out if they're resonating or not is, how do you feel about this? Not what do you think? How do you feel? And the reason why is because resonation is not mental, it's emotional. And the thing that you have to understand is if I all the time ask people, even in coaching, how does this feel to you? When something resonates with you, it's an emotional thing first, then it's a mental thing second. The things that resonate with people, they move towards, they psychologically draw towards. And if it doesn't resonate, if your product, well, I don't think I need that. We had a standard just conversation answer. Something, I appreciate your honesty. But the one thing I do know is you probably know people who do need this, because there's no sense in trying to convince them that they're going to resonate with the product when they've already made it to their mind. They're not. Because this is a challenge that I went through for about a year, because I hammered people because my upline kept saying, you got to just hammer them. They'll eventually say yes. It doesn't work that way. One thing I love about Alan is that, hey, either you get it or you don't. If you don't, that's okay. And I think that's one of the reasons why that he's done so well on that. So I'll turn it back over to you, Angel.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan. Have your thoughts on this as well?
So I love the cat scenario, and tell you what made me laugh about that was I was over at one of the neighbors' houses the other day, and we were standing out in the driveway talking, and I had just met them. I didn't know them, okay? But the UPS guy pulls up, and he comes out of there carrying this box, and they're having cat litter delivered in a box from UPS. Well, guess what I figured out? Without even having to ask, they got a cat. And so that was so funny. And so I think one of the, and Doug touched on this a minute ago, but I think one of the biggest mistakes I see new people in network marketing do is all they go after is other people in the network marketing business. Now, the reason that a lot of them do that is because they feel safe. They feel like that they have something in common with that person. Oh, they like network marketing too. Oh, they like cats. They have a cat. So let me talk to them about buying one of my cats. No, they already got cats. And in addition to that, have you ever seen, and some of them are like, when somebody is new with the company and they're fired up and they're excited and they're posting all those crazy, posts that you see with brand new network marketers, you see people go try to recruit them. Trust me, that is the absolute worst time to recruit them, because they are on fire for whatever it is they're doing. They may not be making a dime, but you hit it, Doug. Only about 2% of them are recruitable, but the general population, those other 98% and however many billion people that is, statistically speaking, about 70% of them are looking for a way to change and improve their lives, spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Over 70% of them are looking, and you just heard Doug say only 2% of the people in the industry are looking, but 70% of the people outside the industry are looking. That's a clue. That's a tip. That's a number you want to write down. Back to you, Angel.
That is so great. And yeah, the conversations with other network marketers, those are long plays. These are, let's build a friendship. Let me get to know you. How can we help each other? Chances are you're never going to work together, but let's benefit each other. And I love what you said, Alan, when people are fired up, that's the worst time, especially if I hear, I just got back from convention. Okay, well, I know I'm not going to go there. So I'm just going to let you tell me all about why you're so fired up about it. And I know you've got all these tricks up your sleeve that you're about to use on me, right? So you let them just practice and you're just this like rock that won't move. But that is, but it's so great to build those relationships, right? When I go into a network marketing relationship, or if I'm on a Zoom with somebody and I know they're fired up about what they're doing, I just know that I want to be that person that gives them some light, gives them some value, just shows them that I'm actually listening and care about their success, right? And that's really how we have to look at that. And then maybe someday down the line, they're looking for something and they're like, I love Angel. I want to talk to her. I want to know what she's doing, right? And that might happen. It might not. Whitney, I'd love to hear, are you able to share on resonating with people with your products? I know that you're a perfect example of somebody who the products that you're using fit in with your life and your lifestyle, and you're looking for moms and women who also resonate with that. I'd love to hear how those conversations go, and how I feel like this is a really strong point for you, if you can come up.
Yeah, I am here. Hi.
Hello.
It is so important to meet on that level, right? And to really say, I am this person. And they're like, well, I'm that person too. Like, I care about those things. And especially as moms, like, I really talk about kids a lot, because we are kind of the gatekeepers, right? We are deciding what comes in our house. We're deciding what our kids get. We're deciding, so many things for them at this stage, especially when they're little, right? And so you're setting those good foundations. And so somebody's like, yeah, I want all of those things too. And then for me to be like, okay, well, I have a simple thing for you to do, because that's another thing for moms is really like, I can't do another complicated thing because I don't have the brain space. And so once you get them in their feelings, like we just talked about, Dr. Doug mentioned just moments ago, when you're in your feelings, it's hard to say no. It's hard to say, I don't need this. It's hard to say, I don't know you, when we've connected and we've decided we're kind of the same person. And so really finding those things that are equal between the two of you and focusing on those, whether your person is a mom, if that's your niche, or whatever it is, to really focus on that thing you have in common.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Talking to moms, you better be providing them with solutions that make their life better, make them feel better about their mothering, make them feel better about the health of their kids, giving them something that makes them feel better rather than taking away from the time they already don't have, right? So that's perfect. And you get out of your own desire for them and you go into theirs. We're going to go into the next slide here. So we're talking about easy.
I want to be like Whitney when I grow up.
I know, right?
Me too.
We're going to talk about differentiate. So Paul, we're going to talk about if your product's easy to substitute, how that can fail in the conversation.
Sure. So I want to go back to Whitney for a second. Part of that whole resonating thing is not just how big the label is on your product or how great the advertising is from your company. It's what that product means to that individual. That's why I talked about, I'll ask 3 or 4 questions based on my particular product line, right, to see what resonates with them. So remember, it's not always about in your face, it's about the feedback. So Whitney, that was brilliant. I made notes. I'm actually going to modify this training to make sure I hit stronger on that point, because when we think about, resonating or building rapport, and Doug did this great on rapport, it's not about us, it's about them. So we got to start thinking about how that feedback is coming back from them. So if we hit the rapport, and by the way, guys, rapport could take a little bit of time. We talk about 5 over 5, and we start with a connection, and then we go to a conversation. Sometimes you could hit all 5 parts of 5 over 5 in one day. In the most part, it could take 2 years. I've had people that I connected, and 2 years later, they've came into my organization. So we have to understand that the pipeline builds, and we talk about either spinning plates or hatching eggs. Many of you want to sit on top of a prospect and wait until that egg hatches before you move on to the next one. And those of us who can juggle 15, 16 balls at once are the ones that are really starting to see that momentum and success, because we're not sitting back waiting for them. One of the things I love to tell people is when you call me up and say, oh my God, Paul, I can't believe this. I'm doing 5 over 5. And there was a guy that said he wanted to join, and I forgot to call him back because I was so busy. And I love to hear that. Yes, it's heartbreaking that you missed that one opportunity, but it tells me that you're moving. It tells me that you're building. It tells me that you have activity in. So let's talk about differentiation, right? So this is a difficult one, guys. I have to be honest. And it's one of the things that kept me out of network marketing for so long, because I knew the ability to scale the business was great. The ability to build teams and make it go from the me mentality to the we mentality was phenomenal. The issue I had was, I think it's difficult for a non-salesperson or someone who has limited communication skills, or maybe a company that doesn't have a very duplicatable system, to create that differentiation, right? So then we know we're competing with Amazon, and we're competing with Walmart, and we're competing with all of these stores, right? And we all love the products that they sell. And sometimes when we're selling products that are similar or the same, it gets challenging. So we need to identify the differentiators in our product line. In fact, I will tell you this, and I'm sure my owner is not thrilled about hearing it, but I do not push every product in our line. There are products that I think make a lot of sense to a lot of people. Does that mean I've never sold any of the handful of products that we have? No, I've sold them all. But the point is, there are certain ones that really are differentiators. And I think that makes our job a little bit easier as network marketing professionals, even if it's your first day, to do that. So maybe it's not necessarily a unique product, but it's the first to market, or maybe it is a unique product or a better version of an existing product, right? Find that out, and then find out how that changes for someone else. Imagine you sell collagen or some other product, but yours is gluten-free. And I don't even know if that's a thing, guys. I'm just saying, but then there's your differentiator, right? There's your market, right? And understand why people go gluten-free. So the idea is, what is it about? Because if you don't differentiate, look what happens. We got great rapport, we're friendly, we're laughing, we resonate. Wow, that's a great idea. I always wanted to do collagen, or I always wanted to do, a protein shake or a meal replacement, but I can get it somewhere else. I can go to Walmart and buy 2 pounds of vanilla protein powder. Guys, I know it's got sawdust in it, but whatever. I could buy 2 pounds of protein powder for $22, instead of spending $70 for 12 ounces, right? So that's a tough sell for your downline, because we're trying to do so much coaching and training. And then they're going to say, well, what's the best price? That's where you're going to fail. Even if you could say, look at the results people are getting, look at the results, how great these results are. Yeah, but why should I pay $70 versus $17? And we could talk about the Madagascar chocolate and how we fly it in on airplanes. And we could talk about all of those things. It's such a heavy lift for the new person. And it's all about the new person. I'm sure everyone on here with Doug's training really can do a great job of explaining what we do, but you need to duplicate. You're not going to build an international business, or you're not even going to build a business in your next county over, if you can't duplicate. And you got to give some success to those new people. So if you don't differentiate, you're going to have price objections, and price objections are tough. When people send you that little ad from Amazon, look what I could buy it on Amazon for, or this company I could pay $9 a month, and look at this, they have beet powder for only $19.99. I don't want to get into it, but the point is, there's a reason why some things are cheap. There's a reason why some things are expensive. And if you can't differentiate, and you feel that that product is easy to substitute, it's always going to be a price objection. Back to you, Angel.
I love that. And I'm sorry if I'm weird today, but I just want to mention that Tara, you just joined us. She is social media trainer extraordinary training. There's a lot of trainers out there, right? We're all ads on Instagram and Facebook. Yes, hey, I can help you. If you go and follow Tara and you see what Tara does, she is not easy to substitute, because
Is Angel breaking up for you guys too? Angel, maybe kill your video.
She's breaking out.
Yeah, maybe kill your video, Angel, and then just see if you got better bandwidth. I know you're talking about
Hi,
Tara.
guys. I just wanted to say thank you, Angel. That was incredibly sweet. I'm just hopping in to listen and be a fly on the wall.
I love all these people so much, and they're the smartest people in the business. So just thank you for being available to pour into us.
You bet. Sorry, my internet, I don't know why it's being weird. I don't know what the weather is like here, but thank you so much for joining us. And what I was saying anyways, is that you stay ahead of the trends. I know that if I need social media advice, I'm going to hire you because I know that you make it your almost obsession to stay ahead of things so that you can give people results. I know that you're a results driven person because I do know you a bit personally, but I also know that you get results yourself. You're one of those social media trainers who is out there doing the do. That's how you're building your business. So I know that if you're building your business that way and you can train me to help me with my business, I'm going to use. So you're not easy to substitute is what I was trying to get to. I'll go back into screen sharing here. Sorry, guys. This is Canada. We're getting into it.
And I got to be, I can't dance like her on
let me find
TikTok or
it.
whatever. So, and you don't want to see that anyway.
No, she's
So
irreplaceable.
sweet.
It's not possible.
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Dr. Doug, what are your thoughts here on your product being able to?
If you don't differentiate your product with everything else out there, the odds of you selling it are pretty slim. What I would suggest doing, something we used to do all the time, I would sit down with Paul or Alan or whoever and say, well, let me tell you the most exciting part. There's 3 reasons why this product is so different. You got to set the stage. You know, when a band comes on, you know, they set the stage, you know, with smoke and lights, and the next thing you know, type of thing. You got to set the stage. And I never talk to anybody about product ever without creating some expectation. And that's how that you differentiate it. Because if something is different, let them know. If I remember I was talking with one young lady, her name was, I think it was Lizzie. And she was asking me about our fruits and vegetable caps when I was in the company I was with. And she said, why wouldn't I just go? There's lots of other different options and everything else. And I said, Lizzie, sure there are. And that's the best part. Because there's so many other options, but there's only 3 things that you need to know about my product here that will understand that those options really are not that good of options. I went 1, 2, 3. I differentiated what we sold from the other stuff out there. And she said, oh, well, that makes sense. Differentiation can be benefits. Differentiation can be a price. Differentiation can be what if it's a software, how it's coded. If it's a product, how it's formulated. Don't be afraid to say what's different. And the reason why is because if you don't, then the odds are of them actually being interested, unless they lead the conversation about it, which probably won't happen. You're going to, unfortunately, lose a sale. So again, it's very simple. I don't care if it's even on Facebook Messenger. I don't care if it's a live video on Zoom or if it's just a comment. Whatever you were going to say about your product, this is the best part and the most exciting part. There's 3 things that you need to know about our product. 1, 2, 3. That's how you differentiate, Angel. At least that's how we did it.
I think that's so great. And I know myself, when somebody comes to me with a product and they're sharing with me all the results, but they don't really differentiate, they miss that step. I am going, okay, so they told me all these benefits. This is what it's working with. Let's use glutathione, for example. I'm going to go to Amazon and I'm going to be like, what are the best glutathione products? Where does their price compare to what they're trying to sell me at? What are the results people are getting in the reviews that are on Amazon? I'm buying it through Amazon, right? That's just how we work and what we do. I'm not going to overpay for something that I can get the same results with. And we know in network marketing that we have such awesome products. So really being able to share that with people is huge. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
So, I think this is a really strong point that people need to pay attention to. And when you mentioned Tara and what she does, and she's a social media success, and I've heard people say about her and about other people, well, I can't do what she does. And I say, you don't need to do what she does. That you need to be you, number one. Okay, so not everybody's the same, and not if you look at the people on this call, everybody's different. Number one. Number two is this is a really big point that I want to drive home. That I want you to, if you got to write it down, if you got to tattoo it on your eyelids, whatever. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in this industry in differentiating their product is when somebody brings another product up, they want to immediately start putting that other product down. You're done. If you try, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, Doug, I've heard Doug say this many times. Yeah, that's a good product too. I don't know a lot about it. But I've heard some things about that too. But let me tell you about our product, or let me tell you the differentiators. And he said 1, 2, 3. And then the third point is this, and this is something that is so crucial for your new person. And that's this: let the tools do the heavy lifting for you. You see, the biggest mistake experienced networkers are, and see, if I go and talk to Paul about Paul's product and about what he's got, he could probably sit and tell me about it for an hour and a half. But if he's telling me about it for an hour and a half, and then he says, would you like to be part of this and promote this product as well? My answer is no, but I appreciate the offer. Well, the reason is because I'm not as smart as him about that. And I can't explain it the way he did. But see, I can share a tool. And if you keep your business simple, and the 1, 2, 3, and your company has tools, I'm confident, on their products that show the differentiators, that show why they should be taking a look at it. And so I tell people all the time, so if you can share a tool, if you're telling, write this down. If you're telling, you're selling. If you're sharing, you're caring. Sharing a tool, let the tools do the heavy lifting for you. You're not a professor, you're not an instructor. I had a couple of ladies come on board with me at the company, and they were struggling. And one of them had a PhD in pharmaceuticals, and the other one was a licensed chiropractor. And they talked over everybody's head, and they said, we're not having success. And I said, you got to dumb it down. You got to dumb it down. You got to let these tools, here's the tools. Go out there this week and don't do all this talking. Just share these tools and see what happens. And their results were amazing. You know, this works so much better, and it takes me so much less time. I don't have to sit with somebody for an hour and word dump on them. I just say, hey, and listen, people call me all the time and they'll say, hey, tell me about your product. This product, or tell me about this product. Tell me about this product. Can you imagine being with a company? There's companies out there that have over 500 products. Right? Thank God we don't, because I'd be insane. I'd be, you know. But anyway, they say, tell me about this product. And then my answer is always this. I've been with the same company for 11 years. And I know a lot about these products. And Doug will tell you, my answer is, I'll send you a video. Let me send you a video. Let me send you this information. Let you take a look at it. And see, they can look at it in the privacy of their own home with their leisure. And then if you're telling, you're selling. If you're caring, you're sharing. Back to you, Angel.
That was perfect. And I love that. And when you said that about the sharing side of things, I think about my very first company, and I can actually share this story because the company doesn't exist anymore. They had a mangosteen shot. And my friend sent me an email and she said, hey, I think you'd like this. She knew I was totally into health and wellness and nutrition and all of that. She's like, I think you would really love this. I'm using it. It's just fantastic. And I fell in love with the product first and asked if I could join her business. That's how good she did at differentiating her product, right? Like being like, there's nothing like this out there. This is where they source this mangosteen. It's incredible. Here's some results, and we're going to get into that here. But I was sold immediately. She already had Rapport with me. She already knew that I had a resonance for this type of product. So she knew that sharing that with me was going to totally pique my interest, either as a customer. She did not know I was going to recruit myself into her business. That was just a bonus. Tara, I'd like to, if you have a few seconds, I know I fell off when you started talking, so I'm not quite sure what you said, but I would love to hear from you just on this topic, because you're outside of network marketing. You took your social selling that you started inside of network marketing and built this massive business for yourself, where you're now not just working with network marketers. You've taken this to corporate level where businesses are hiring you to train their teams. What did you do to make yourself stand out and not be substitutable if you can?
Well, just to echo what's already been said, and thank you so much. Really, really kind words. Honestly, I owe a lot of my success to Dr. Doug because he poured into me and believed in me a lot bigger than a lot of other people did. And I wasn't even in his business and company. So that just speaks volumes to his generosity and his heart. But I'm going to really echo what other people have already said. The truth is, and we've heard this before, this isn't my quote, but the truth is, people care about themselves more than they care about anything else. And the moment that I really let that sink in, and the moment that I fell in love with that idea, instead of being maybe annoyed by it and annoyed by people really being into themselves more than into me and my story and my product and my mission and my vision, right? Is the moment that I really began to scale quickly because it's not about us. Right. And if we are in this business, whether it be network marketing, whether it be coaching, no matter what our business is, if we're in it for our own personal gain, that is like, you can smell that a mile away. People know that, they can feel it on you. But if you're in it genuinely to help other people grow, and one of the ways that we help other people grow is, I'm going to say what Alan said, is that we speak to their level. And I realized people might like to watch me on social media, get a giggle, get a laugh, but they weren't, once again, what Alan said, they were never going to be me. Thank God, right? We don't need more than one of me. We don't need more than one of Angel. We need people to be themselves. So the minute I was able to kind of speak to their gifts and talents, discover their unique gifts and talents and build on that and help them grow in confidence, is when I really started to grow my business, because it was in service of someone else. So no matter what it is, whether it's a product or a service, whether you're selling collagen or leggings or coaching, right? It should always be about the person, I say, because I'm in social media, on the other end of the screen. But that's similar to this day and age in selling products, right? As well. A lot of these people are cold. You've reached out to them cold, or they have found you cold, and it should be about the person on the other end of the screen. So what I do is, instead of leaping into anything about me, anything about my growth, anything about my tactics, anything, I jump like feet first, head first, whatever you want to say. I jump fully in to them and what do they want? And so differentiating your product is really about figuring out what the person on the other screen wants and why they don't have it and why is it a pain point for them, right? We always hear these buzzwords like find the pain point and blah, blah, blah. But really, this is about being extremely curious about the person on the other end of the screen and falling in love with each new person and how you can help them and getting really excited about how to help them. Now, also, like Alan was saying, he's been with his company 11 years. He's an expert in each of their products. That's good. You want to be an expert and you want to be the expert in what you do. You definitely, if we're talking about social media, you definitely want to show up as the expert on social media. However, you don't want to word vomit, because people, their attention span, 7 seconds long, adults, and they just don't have time. If we're talking about social media, they're watching you while they're pooping or at a stoplight, right? Or on their lunch break in the teacher's lounge, right? You really have very short amount of time. So dumbing it down works one-on-one. If you're having a conversation, it works with your social media. But when we say dumb it down, we mean just get very simple and speak to the pain points, speak to the problems that people have. When it's products and services, if it's collagen, some of us are aging and we don't, or our joints hurt, right? Speak to those problems instead of speaking to yourself and your own success. So when I work with network marketers, a lot of them have major success, teams of 10,000 plus, and they want to show up talking about that. And you know what I say to them, Angel? I say, with all the love in my heart, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I want to know how you're going to help me make an extra $500 so that I can book, plane tickets to, go to the beach. I want to know how you can help me make an extra $500 so that I can get the lashes that I want to get every month, or the Botox that I've been dreaming of, right? What is my pain point, and how can you really fall in love and get curious about me? And then start talking just baby steps, and sharing a video is a great way to do that, because that is one baby step that you can take toward continuing the conversation. Was that helpful?
So helpful. You're so awesome. I love that. And that last point that you just made is crucial. I hope everybody took notes on that. Like, who cares? Right? Nobody cares what you've done. Still, it's about me. Thanks for telling me who you are, but talk about me, right? That is perfect. And you made me laugh because you're just always so funny. So thank you for that contribution. We're going to go into the fourth point here, substantiate. I've got a hard stop myself at noon. Well, it's noon for me, 1 for you guys, but so we'll try to get this wrapped up, or you guys can continue on without me, which is totally fine. Not able to substantiate. Paul, go ahead on that one.
All right, so real quick, because everybody put some really, really big fire to the table. Tara just did it. So it made me think about how many of you have had recently your company launched a new product? And one of the things I have a challenge with when people have a new product launch is we assume because we have a new product, everybody else, and we lose our way and we forget to the point of, I'm not going to sell this product to a vegan if the thing is made with beef, right? I'm making that up. But the point is, we get so excited about a new product launch that we forget our basic strategies. We forget our training. We forget about what's necessary to build the business. And we go again, think about us. I got a new product. You got to try it. Really? Well, what if it's not for them? So all of these things are really important to remember. I think the biggest confusion I see is when there's some sort of change in the company or a new training plan or a new app or a new product, people tend to get all confused and forget about their basic strategy or their daily method of operation. And it's so hard, but we need to rein that in. Doug also talked about the music business, and I know he was big in the music business, and we left Substantiate for last. And most of you open with your before and afters, open with your results. No great band opens with their encore, right? If you go see the Eagles or you go see anyone else, you're waiting for that song. You're waiting, and they walk off stage and they applaud and they come back and we pull them back to hear that song. And many of us are tempted to open with our encore. And that's not building the value proposition. We're not building rapport.
That is so good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you. But we never, ever open with our encore. Save it, guys. Don't be in such a rush. And part of the vomit concept is we want to give them all of this exciting information when we should have been being friends first, right? The BFF. We're not spending that time. We're not being there long enough for them to build the relationship to be able to get to the other 3 points. But when you do, and you do it right, and you pull out Peg Tucker's before and afters, I wish somebody would put them up, because I'm going to tell you, I've done more business on behalf of Peg than anything, because she has such amazing results. But I do it last, right? Because if you're not able to substantiate what your products can do, or what your comp plan can do for someone, or what you, Peg, you're getting a lot of accolades there. I see even Tara too. I know you guys know each other. How great was Clubhouse, guys, to create this community of us, this community of us, and what it's done. I got to be honest with you. I got the country of Korea because of Dr. Doug Firebaugh's Clubhouse, and a guy heard me there, and we went on from there. So I'm sorry I'm so excited about it, but I think the value that we're giving to people is so important. And I hope you guys get a little something out of this training. But if you're not able to substantiate, they're not going to think they can be successful. And I put money because even Tara said it, that $500 is important. It makes a difference, right? So if you can, so substantiation is important. Pick your product, pick your thing, pick your best pièce de résistance. Okay, that's the best French I could do. Sorry, guys. But if they don't think they can make money, it's all over. Because we're selling them a business opportunity as well as we're selling a product line. Otherwise, you have a customer. And you need to be able to do that. So I'm going to hand this back to everybody, because I know Angel's in a rush. We could close out if you need to, Angel, but it's back to you.
No, that was perfect. And we'll wrap up for everybody, because I know we want to keep this to an hour. I just realized with you sharing that, Paul, about that this is our encore with our results. And I just want to quickly share, I was on a 3-way with Danny on a Zoom. He had already built the report with her. They knew each other from years back. They're in a book together, right? Strong resonance for the product. She's perimenopausal, absolutely needed what we have. Not easy to substitute. She's in another network marketing company, successful, just coming in as a customer, excited about it, right? Then we got into a group chat where I shared some of our testimonials, including Peg Tucker. And on Peg Tucker, she said, wow, in big letters, like with that face. I just realized when you were talking about that, we literally went through those 4 steps, right? And boom, Danny's got a new customer on the product. So I love this. I'm going to throw it over to you, Alan, to wrap up for us today on this. This has been incredible. Usually we get to go around the room, guys, but this was a very strong value training. And, great to hear from Tara and Whitney and the people that we were able to bring in. And I'm sorry we can't get to everybody today, but definitely come back next Friday because it'll be another amazing training and we'll try to get everybody's thoughts.
Angel, this is kind of like a clubhouse Zoom. It's getting to be that. I love it.
It really is. It really is. So Alan Newell, take us home for the weekend.
Here's a thought to carry with you. It goes along with what everybody has said and all these slides, and it was amazing. And that is this: is everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. Stands for What's in It for Me. And if you keep that, and then the other thing is, if you haven't read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I highly recommend doing it not just once, but at least once a year. Because their favorite radio station, WIIFM, What's in It for Me, and everybody has a sign around their neck. It's an invisible sign. And if you look, you'll see it. Some of it have it tattooed on their forehead. And it says, make me feel important. It's got to be all about them. If you do that, you'll have success in this industry. And what a great training. Thanks everybody for joining. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining in and for sharing. And I agree with you, Doug. This is becoming a Zoom clubhouse.
Yeah, it's so great. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you, Paul, for bringing in this content that just was so valuable. I think that everybody can agree that this is just huge. It's been fantastic. We'll have the recording for you guys so that you can listen to it again because there's so much in here to absorb. And again, thank you, Tara, for jumping in and joining us, and Dr. Doug, always for the value that you bring. And Alan, you're always amazing. It's just so great to hear from you guys every week. Make sure to share this Zoom when you're talking to people. Just quickly before we go, when you're talking with people, invite them here. If that's the last value that you can give them, invite them here for Friday. Hey, I'm happy where I am. I love my products. Oh my gosh, I got back from convention. Great. You need to plug into this Zoom because it's a mastermind of a bunch of leaders in the profession that come together and share amazing training. I'm going to send you the link. I make a list of the people that I need to remind to come on Fridays. So I'm actually adding them to a list so that I'm sending out an email saying, hey, make sure you're jumping on the noon Zoom, or a text, right? Make sure you're doing that too. Keep track. And it's not for anything self-serving. It's just get them in this community. You never know what can happen. So we love you guys so much. God bless. Go out and use these tips for the weekend. Have an amazing Friday. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Awesome.